Hello. So tonight we're going to be reading another parable, and this is one of the last parables that we will be reading. So if you want to hear more and you love them as much as I do, then ask your parents to read those to you. So this next parable started with a man asking Jesus a question. The man who asked Jesus a question was a really smart man, and maybe he was trying to trick Jesus and see if Jesus was a really good teacher or not. And this is what he said to Jesus. He said, "Teacher, what should I do so I can go to heaven and live forever?" And Jesus replied, "What is written in the Bible? What do you think?" And the man answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and with all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself." And Jesus said, "That's right. Do this and you'll live forever in heaven." But the man wanted to know more, so he asked Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" Jesus decided to answer this question with a parable to help everyone who was listening understand. Jesus said, "There once was a Jewish man walking along the road. He was coming from Jerusalem and was headed to Jericho, which was a full day or two of walking." That is a whole lot of walking, guys. So the road was rocky and there were small hills all around. The man was just humming to himself and enjoying a nice day, and suddenly a group of men jumped out from behind a hill. They took all of his belongings and tore off most of his clothes. They didn't want him to follow them, so they beat him up very badly and left him lying and bleeding on the side of the road. And then, just a few minutes later, this priest was walking down the same path, and he noticed the man lying on the side of the road. Do you know what he did? You'd think he would run over and help the man. Instead, he crossed the road and walked on the other side and acted like he didn't even see the man. So about an hour or so later, another man called a Levite was walking down the road, and Levites were people who assisted the priest with their work. He would probably help the man, right? But you know what he did? He slowed down and walked a little closer to the man, but he kept on walking and he didn't help him at all. So now you might be thinking that maybe the man lying beside the road looked like he was resting or something like that. And that's maybe why the priest or the Levite didn't stop and help. The trouble is, it was really easy to tell that he was badly hurt. The man was bleeding, had most of his clothes ripped off of him, and he was bruised and hardly even breathing. So then, just a few minutes later, another man came walking. He was a Samaritan. One thing you should know about Samaritans is that the Jews did not like them at all. Jews usually didn't treat Samaritans very well, so they never got along. The man who was dying on the road was a Jew, so what do you think the Samaritan did? You would think he would walk on by and maybe even laugh at the man. But as soon as he saw the man, he went over to him and he felt compassion for him. He put bandages on his sores and poured oil and wine, which were really expensive, on the sores to prevent them from getting worse. He lifted the man on his own donkey and took him to a hotel to take care of him. The next day, the Samaritan took out enough money so the man could stay in the hotel until he was well enough to leave. He paid the man at the front desk and asked him to take care of the man. If he wasn't better, after about 2 months, the Samaritan would come back and pay for any extra cost. After Jesus finished the story, he asked, "Which of these 3 men do you think was a neighbor to the man who was left and beaten on the side of the road?" The man who asked him the question at the beginning replied, "The one who had compassion and helped him." And Jesus told him, "Go and do the same." So from that, we learn that just having compassion for people and helping people is what we should do as Christians. So if you see someone in need and you can help them, then we should help them. So I hope that you guys have sweet dreams tonight. I love you guys. I miss you guys. And I hope that we are all reunited once again. So good night.